invite you to rise in body or spirit. Let's sing our gathering song. Calypso, hallelujah. There are no lyric slides for this one because there's only one word, hallelujah. But this is a partner song. There are actually 3 different melodies here. We will learn all 3, and then you pick one, and they all go together. But make sure it's not the same one as your neighbor. Here we go. Hallelujah, sing hallelujah. Hallelujah, sing hallelujah. Hallelujah, sing hallelujah. Hallelujah, sing hallelujah. Okay, you got that, right? Here's the second one. When it comes around. Part 2. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Do that a couple more times. Hallelujah, 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 Okay, now y'all got that, right? Here's the third one. When it comes around. Alleluia, sing alleluia. Alleluia, sing alleluia. Do that again. Alleluia, sing alleluia. Alleluia, sing alleluia. All right, so you know all 3 of those parts. Pick one, anyone, but make sure it's not the same one as your neighbor. Here we go. Hallelujah, sing Now, switch. Sing a different one. Alleluia. Sing alleluia. Alleluia. Sing alleluia. Sing alleluia. Sing alleluia.
Keep those slides going as I say welcome. Good morning. And welcome to the Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church. We're going to try that again because some of us were here at that party really late. So let's try it again. Good morning. Thank you. I'm Leslie Takahashi, and it's my privilege to serve as one of the ministers of this congregation. I use the she and her pronouns. And we're so glad that we have so many folks here today. We've had a lot of things going on, and we have more things going on next week. So we're really grateful to have everyone who's here today, whether you're joining us in the sanctuary or online. We're glad that you've chosen to spend part of your week with this community. Welcome back if you are here on campus for the first time in a while. And for those online, we know please join our virtual coffee hour, which will be held for 15 minutes after the service, so that you can say hello. If you are visiting, we hope you will sign a visitor's card either virtually or at the rainbow table after the service. And also, because of some special circumstances, we will be having a chance to sign the membership book after the service today as well. So if you've been thinking about that and want to join us, please do so. Also, please join us for refreshments on the brick patio, which is to the left as you exit the sanctuary. Next Sunday, we will be honoring Mark Tuning, who is retiring after 20 years as our music director, the last couple also as our worship tech director. So we ask you to join us for a music-focused service and also for a special reception after the service. We also invite you today to visit the powerful display of Soulbox, which is in our Borton Hall after the service, to witness the impact of gun violence on our community. And next Saturday, Contra Costa's Pride celebration, sponsored by the Rainbow Center, will be at Todos Santos, and MDUC has a table for Pride in the plaza, and that it will be held from 12 to 6. So if you can help out, please see Reverend Rodney after the service. Welcome to this beloved community.
Good morning. Obviously, I'm not Linda Russell. I'm Andrew Oswald. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. My pronouns are he and him. So welcome to our service. Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church is a welcoming faith community. We begin our services by reading our mission together. We bring to life our Unitarian Universalist values as we seek truth and work for justice, nurture compassion and courage, reach out to each other and to our larger community of faith, bridge the divisions that wound the human family, transform ourselves and our world. This community exists because of the time, talent, and treasure that our members and friends share. Please check out the Just in Time section of our weekly email and our newsletter, and the Just in Time board in the Borton Hall to connect and contribute. While we're no longer checking vaccination statuses, our expectation is that those who are inside are vaccinated and fully boosted and are symptom-free or have a negative COVID test. After having done ventilation testing of our buildings, we have made masking optional, though recommended. We'll continue to honor one another's choices in covenant. And welcome. It's good to be together on this Flower Communion and Bridging Sunday.
So this is one of our Sundays that is very special because we're gathered all together as a multi-generational community. And so as a result, we have had a return of our fidget table, which is in the back. And we're very excited. This is something we had in place before we went into the shelter in 2020. So we're really grateful to have it back. And we would just mention this because if anyone who's currently sitting near the fidget table will feel like they need to fidget if people are fidgeting around them, you could move to a different part of the sanctuary as we welcome one another and say, we're glad you're here.
We invite you to remain risen in body or spirit and join in singing our invocation, Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Roll in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, living life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. These words are by Norbert Fabian Čapek. It is worthwhile to live and fight courageously for sacred ideals. Oh, blow, ye evil winds, into my body's fire. My soul you'll never unravel. Even though disappointed 1,000 times or fallen in the fight and everything worthless seem, I have lived amidst eternity. Be grateful, my soul. My life was worth living. He who has pressed from all sides but remained victorious in spirit is welcomed into the choir of heroes. He who overcame the fetters, giving wing to the mind, is entering into the golden age of the victorious. Now I would like to invite those who are young or young at heart to the front for the Time for All Ages. Well, good morning. It's so good to see you all. So much excitement. Look at this beautiful bloom in her hand. I love it. Wonderful, wonderful choice for flower communion. And I have a story about flower communion, if that's okay with you. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there were people who believed in the power of love, kindness, and the beauty of nature, much like we do here. They were called Unitarian Universalists. Anybody know one? And they wanted to create a special way to celebrate their beliefs. Long ago in the land of Czechoslovakia, looked like that. There was a brave and wise person named Norbert Čapek. He was a Unitarian minister and wanted to find a way to bring people together and celebrate the unique beauty that each person brought into the world, just like you do. One day, as Norbert was walking through a beautiful garden filled with colorful flowers, he had a brilliant idea. He thought, what if we could create a special ceremony where everyone brings a flower that represents them, and then we exchange the flowers with one another? It would be a way to show that we are all connected and that our differences make us even more beautiful. Norbert shared his idea. Oh, yeah? Beautiful name. Beautiful name. Jasmine is a beautiful name. Norbert would approve. I think we all approve of it. Norbert shared his idea with the people in his church, much like Jasmine shared her name, and they loved it. They decided to call this ceremony the Flower Communion. Everyone was excited to participate and began picking their favorite flowers from their gardens or the wild meadows nearby. When the special day arrived, the church was filled with laughter and joy and a fidget table. People of all ages came together, each holding a flower in their hands. They formed a long line, and one by one, they walked up to a large table at the front of the church. Maybe a fidget table too. As each person placed their flower on the table, something magical happened. The room was transformed into a vibrant garden filled with the colors and scents of all the different flowers. It was a sight to behold. It was a commitment to join in community with others. Once all the flowers were placed on the table, it was time for the exchange. Each person picked a new flower from the table, one that belonged to someone else. They did this to show that they valued and appreciated the uniqueness of others. When the ceremony was over, everyone left the church with a new flower in their hands. They carried it with them as a reminder of the beautiful diversity in the world and the importance of love and acceptance. From that day forward, the Unitarian Universalist Flower Communion became a cherished tradition. People all around the world started celebrating it, using flowers to symbolize the beauty and worth of every person, no matter who they are or where they come from. And so, the Flower Communion continues to this day, reminding us to embrace the differences that make us special and to spread love and kindness wherever we go.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite us to return to our fidget table. Oh, all right. Okay, before we move, I want to invite Eric Shea up. You're going to need this. So this morning, we're recognizing Eric Shea for his completion of the Love and Help curriculum as part of his Cub Scouts experience. He's been working on this for many months to relate the values of scouting to those of Unitarian Universalism. Love and Help meets the requirements for those seeking Unitarian Universalist religious emblem as part of their participation in Cub Scouting or Webelos. Using dynamic designs and fun illustrations, it provides stories, activities, and thoughtful questions to help children better understand themselves, their family, their community, and their faith.
And I was privileged to sit with Eric and also with Kevin, and to have them share with me Eric's work through this book, which has 36 pages that he had to complete, and which he worked on over several scouting years. I am particularly grateful to award this during Pride Month, as many Unitarian Universalists work for decades to make scouting more inclusive and to support Scouts for Equity, which is a nonprofit committed to inclusive scouting. So before Marina presents this badge, I would like to ask Eric to please recite to us the oath.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law. I will help other people at all times be physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
Thank you. Good job, Eric. That was great. And now, as Marina is presenting the badge and pinning it onto Eric, let us all recognize this huge amount of work which Eric has done. Thank you, Eric.
All right, and now I'd like to invite the rest of you to return to the fidget table, and let's sing them back to their activities.
As you leave this friendly place, love give light to
morning, everyone. My name is Patricia Craven, and my pronouns are she and her. Welcome. I was asked by Leslie the other day, what does the flower community mean to you? Great question. What first popped into my head were images of my first flower communion 8 years ago. I had no idea what it meant. What were these people doing? Bringing flowers and then taking them? All I could think is different, weird, I'm kind of confused. Growing up, communion in church was mixed for me. You see, I was baptized on a Sunday night, so the next Sunday morning was my first communion service. I was 14 years old and was, of course, hanging out with other teenagers. As teenagers, we wanted to be separate from our parents, so we sat in the balcony where we could look down on all those old folks down there. We had just finished singing "We Are One in the Spirit," and it was time for communion. Don Myers, the minister's 15-year-old son, was our usher in the balcony. He started at the front row carrying the wine and the crackers. It was a very solemn time. But just then, as he was walking up the rows, getting close to us, Susan Kirk leaned over to me and whispered, "You know, Don curls his hair." I started to laugh, and at 14 years old, my laugh was loud. It was kind of like a hyena. I mean, it really was. I've worked hard on it. I gasped, "Oh no, this is my first communion," but I just couldn't stop. I was flooded by guilt, and I couldn't wait for the service to end so I could run out of the church. Well, I wasn't so lucky. Once the service had ended, I rushed down the stairs, and who would be there? My brother, 17 years my senior, and I just started to cry, shame taking hold. He saw me, grabbed me, and I was shocked that he looked down at me not with judgment, but with a smile and love. He pulled me close and mumbled some words about not having to be perfect. That was a relief. But still, the embarrassing memory had stayed with me. I had done something wrong. Until my first flower communion here at MDUC. Though I didn't exactly know what this important ritual was, I could feel it was very different from the wine and crackers. I experienced a time when we all gather for a concrete expression of what is here in these rooms throughout the year. A connection, a sharing, a creating something new. We create this day a bounty of beauty, and then we take the beauty home with us. In my profession, we call this a transitional object. It is allowing ourselves to experience the energy of this connection even when we are physically away. A concrete way to know we are always in communion with each other. Here is a stanza from a poem called "Travelers Upon the Earth" by Elizabeth Strong, a past UU minister. Therefore, let our moments be bountiful. Let us rejoice in our unique colors, aromas, and sounds. Let us celebrate together in love, that as we travel away, we take with us the memory of golden hours together among the flowers. I invite you this morning to come, celebrate with me, and be in community. Let us worship.
We invite you to rise and bow to your spirit. Let's join in singing our congregational song, "For the Beauty of the Earth."
So as we come back together as a multi-generational community, we are all doing this flower communion, for example, really for only the second time together inside again, which is really a wonderful thing. And we're learning all kinds of things about how to be a multi-generational community. So I am going to invite my friends over at the Fidget table just to put down what they're doing for 1 second and join with us in this one thing. I'm going to ask you for your help. And then you can go back to doing it, and we really appreciate how you're using your quiet and whisper voices when you're fidgeting. Because we're all learning. We're all learning. And you know, we missed one another when we weren't able to be together. So that's what I want to invite us to do. Some of you weren't even here when we were doing this back in 2018, 2019, but I'm going to invite us all to take a moment and just look around this sanctuary at all the beautiful faces, and aren't we glad that we have the sounds of young voices enjoying what they're doing? Isn't that an amazing thing? And I'm going to invite us just to take a moment, just again, and just to take in a breath, or if we don't want to do that, just to open our hands and close our hands, but something that we do with our body. And just to maybe lower our gaze or close our eyes and just be grateful to be in this moment, to be in the company of people who cherish and honor one another, to be in this place where we understand that at our deepest level we need one another to be together, however we are, including our dear friends who are joining us across the airways. We are so grateful to be in this place, to be here together, to be exercising our free faith, which is what this flower communion is designed to do. So with whatever word is sacred to you, let us take a moment to recognize that this is a holy space we create together. Blessed be, amen. Ashe.
We invite you to join in singing our meditation. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will. Once again. I know my rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
At this time, we would like to invite our bridging youth and his parent to come forward.
We are here to acknowledge that a time of transition has come. On one side of our bridge stands the world of childhood and youth, where you have been, Jameson. And on the other side, where I am, stands the adult world, where you are going. Between these 2 points stretches a long and uncertain journey. And yet, others who have been with you are here in this room as well. And we will collectively become the link between where you have been and where you are going. So I'm going to invite those among us who are young adults and or lifelong members of our faith to come forward and at this time stand with me in the front of the chancel and just raise your hands and link, or up here, sorry. We'll create a little bridge for you. Here, we can get.
You can be on the other side.
There you go. And if y'all could link arms.
Here, James.
Thank you. Creating a little bridge. Fantastic. We'll get it right.
All right. All right, I have a question for you, Lynn, as the parent of Jameson. For we want to acknowledge that this is a time of transition for you as well. Do you stand ready to support Jameson as he ventures out on his own life, understanding that his choices may be different from yours, and yet also reaffirming that your love and support is a constant that he will carry forward for the rest of his life? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Now we invite Jameson to come forward and speak your name, allowing us to celebrate with you everything that you bring today.
My name, just say my name.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Jameson, and yeah, I'm here.
We have some gifts for you. First one. This is a gift certificate to In Spirit, our online UU bookstore, for you to purchase something to mark this passage. And in a moment, you will join the congregation as an adult, and as you do so, you are metaphorically crossing into the next phase of your life. But before we do that, the congregation has another gift for you.
In our services of child dedication, we give each child a rose from which the thorns have been taken as a symbol of our wish to make their way smooth. But now, as a young adult, we're hoping that you'll grasp life with all its difficulties and sadness. And Jameson, I know you're ready to do that, along with all its joys and beauties. We believe you're ready to face life's sharp edges. So our other gift for you is this. This is a rose that does not have its thorns removed. Be careful. Comes from my yard because apparently all retailers believe that you need to remove all those thorns. We had to go searching for that rose. So we are though you may leave eventually, you should know that our affirmation will always travel with you, and that you will continue to be part of our journey as we hope to be part of yours. And now Marina has a question for the members and friends of this congregation.
Do you all pledge to stand with this young adult and to welcome and assure him that we remain here as an enduring circle into whose comforting embrace that he can always return? If so, please say, we do.
We do. So now, Jameson, I'm going to invite you to walk through the bridge, if we could get our bridge back up. And as you do, let us all recognize all of the gratitude of the journey that Jameson is about to embark on as a very talented young Unitarian Universalist.
Yay!
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Chris Carter. I serve as the elected treasurer and a member of your board of trustees. My pronouns are he, him, and his. In crafting my message today, my last call for offering as MDUUC's treasurer, that was not a, anyway, I was not trying for that. I turned to a memory stretching back several decades. Our son, who recently turned 28, spent a small share of his early childhood being entertained by a certain purple dinosaur. This dinosaur would interact with young kids and sing and dance to songs that conveyed basic life lessons. And yes, I am talking about Barney. He was available on demand, courtesy of our first VCR player. Well, on demand as long as you remember to rewind the tape from the last time you watched. I am indeed surprised at how many Barney songs that I remember after singing them 25-ish years ago. One, however, is particularly relevant this morning. It's the song with the refrain, "Please and thank you are the magic words." That's as close as I'm going to get to singing. But please and thank you are the magic words. Since the start of COVID, I and my fellow board members have been the ones to ask you every week to please be generous in giving to MDUUC, and you have responded. As I have shared during our recently concluded annual meeting and in forums leading up to that meeting, your support, and in many cases extra support, have been critical to our ability to make it through COVID and remain on solid financial ground. So I will conclude my last call to offering with Barney's second magic word: thank you. We can't say it too much, and we don't say it often enough. Thank you for your willingness to understand that it takes resources to run a church, your commitment to what this church stands for, and for your generosity. All three of these things have made being MDUUC treasurer truly worth the time and the effort. So, those joining virtually this morning may contribute at our website, mduuc.org, where you can click on the yellow Give Now button at the top of the page. For those attending in person, the ushers will come forward to gratefully receive your offerings. Please be generous. Thank you. please join me in dedicating our offering. To the work of this community in transforming ourselves and our world, we dedicate ourselves and our offerings. Thank you.
So I have the pleasure of blessing the flowers with you all. And because of our faith, we know that we all are connected to the divine. So I'm going to ask all of you to bless these flowers with me. Blessed are these flowers, symbols of diversity and unity, gathered from our various gardens or bought from Safeway down the street, and brought into this, our sacred space. May they all remind us of the beauty that blooms when we embrace our differences and celebrate our shared humanity. May their vibrant colors, and they are very vibrant, so kudos to all of you who shopped. Their delicate petals, let them inspire us to nurture compassion and kindness to one another and fully embrace love into our hearts. Let that love spread like fragrance of harmony throughout our interconnected world. So maybe if you feel comfortable in doing so, you could lift your hand toward the flowers, lift your gaze to the flowers, and just say, blessing. Thank you.
Thank you to Mark and our choir. I think we should say thank you to Mark and our choir. In a moment, we will partake in our flower communion, one of the uniquely Unitarian Universalist rituals, as Michael told us earlier. And I'm going to say just a couple words about it because I think it's important for us to think about it in a very mindful context this year. So this is the time in the service that if you need to, take a moment to wiggle. In case you have some wiggles you need to get out. We should probably do this every service, not just our multi-gen. We'll see if it works. So last week we gathered in a different kind of worship. It was our annual meeting. It was very worshipful. I found myself moved to simply see all the gathering and the people who showed up to support the democratic process in a time when that is so endangered. And what we need to remember about this service, this communion, as joyful and beauty-filled as it is, it was designed that way for a reason, and that reason was that Norbert Čapek lived with the heartache of a time when he saw authoritarianism rising all around him in his country. So now perhaps in other years, we would have honored that as sort of a nostalgic look back towards something that we knew would never happen again in our world. I think today in 2023, we are a little bit more aware that we do not have that luxury. And yet, for me, that makes this ritual even more important. We have rituals, you know, because life isn't simple, because life isn't a steady state. Life is a progression, and sometimes human striving seems to be a dance between progression and regression. I think a lot. In these last couple years, I've thought a lot about the people who are sitting as you are or you at home are doing, participating in this ritual. I think about those people in the days when Norbert Čapek preached to thousands, and I wonder about their lives when they were not able to assemble again. I suspect there were hearts that just longed for what we enjoy today, just the right to come together and participate in a simple ritual which celebrates joy, which renews our commitment to the human spirit, and which allows us to celebrate human progress. On this day, in this June, 2023, this month of pride, when many of our beloveds are again facing a level of fear they thought they would not face again in their lifetime, when we are facing attacks on our judicial system, when women are struggling for basic rights over their bodies, this ceremony is so sacred. Each of those beautiful flowers is like a window opening on the possibility of new hope and reminding us of the power we all have to choose what to do with this gift of life we are given. It is a window that gestures us into a deeper relationship with ourselves, with one another, and with all forms of life on this planet when we are still negotiating and navigating our way back into those relationships. Today, I am asking that we make this flower ceremony, this ritual, one full of mindfulness of these gifts, the gift to freely gather in a place that's grounded in both science and in the spirit, in a place that knows that we cannot choose one, but must find the intersection between them, in a place where we can hold our deepest aspirations. Let us look with intention upon these flowers and behold their beauty. And may we also, perhaps even more so, watch the faces of these precious people and think of people who are not physically before us today. Perhaps we'll see some of their faces, I know, on the screen, and some of them we won't see. We can look at the ones who walk by, and we can look at the ones we wish were walking by, and take a moment, maybe in the next coming days, to reach out to them. For that is what we celebrate today. This place rich with connection, that is the purpose of this flower communion. For all of us who are moving together, may our movement remind us of the freedoms that we share, and let every vision remind us of the preciousness of human life and its diversity. Today, may we honor this ritual designed by one who was willing to sacrifice that others might have a more sustained spirit, and may we each commit to spread its beauty and hope in ever-expanding circles around us. And now, as we begin our ritual, we're going to invite us to come down. We'll invite this section first, and then this section, and then actually we're going to invite the choir first, I apologize, and then that section. And we just invite you to come forward this way, go down the aisles, and just watch one another as you move, for that is so precious as well. Let us begin our flower communion.
And as we come together, or come to pick our flowers, let's sing together this hymn that was written for this occasion by Norman Chapek. Color and fragrance, magical rhythm, sweet changing music will change us with them. Life within life in a light gently glowing. Surely you seem to be God's vision growing. Oh, starry heavens, worlds of all splendor, suns without number, new life and gender, wheeled in a wheel with the light brightly glowing, moving in harmony, God's vision growing. Pebbles, high mountain passes, depth of the ocean, dew on the grasses, great things and small, with the light gently glowing, word of the wordless song, God's vision growing. Delicate beings, lace-wing and sparrow, in fields and forest, clover and yarrow, life greeting life with the light gently glowing, nor too small to be God's vision growing. us you've given our chance to keep here on earth a heaven moving in harmony, light gently glowing. May we be gratefully God's vision growing. We now invite you to rise and body your spirit. Let's join in singing our closing song, Rising Green. My blood doth rise in the roots of yon oak. Her sap doth run in my veins. Boundless my soul like the open sky, where the stars forever have lain. Where the stars, where the stars, where the stars forever have lain. My hands hold the weavings of time without end. My sight as deep as the sea, beating my heart sounds the measures of old, that of love's eternity. That of love, that of love, that of love's eternity. I feel the tides as they answer the moon, rushing on a far distant sand. Winging my song is the wind of my breast, and my love blows over the land. And my love, and my love, and my love blows over the land. My foot carries days of the old into new. Our dreaming shows us the way. Wondrous our faith settles deep in the earth.
Before we leave, I invite us all to take another flower before you leave to someone who you adore and maybe who wasn't here today. So as we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may the images that we have seen today strengthen our resolve for diversity in our world. Let that flame burn in our hearts as we leave this place and enter back into our world, a world where the beauty of our individuality is sometimes seen as cause for division. May we remember that we are the garden full of light and hope.